Far from a trail, pushing through brush and ivy, they search, eyes downward, scanning for clues. Because here, below the mountains of western Maryland, a hidden frontier lay in wait, a network of undiscovered caves.
I don't see any exposure here.
Are we heading further up, or are we going to?
Yeah, there's some down. There's some down to the right there. So we're just a little bit above it right now, that's all.
Corey Hackley has been captivated by the subterranean world from an early age, and today he leads an expedition called Ridge Walking, the hunt for a hole.
When you're looking for cave entrances, when you're ridge walking, you're liable to walk through a lot of areas that people wouldn't ordinarily walk through because you're following the limestone. Limestone is one of very few rocks and the most common rock that will form caves. Limestone's a little soluble, so when it comes in contact with acidic water from the surface, a cave will form. So the first thing we need to do is find where the limestone is. All right, we got an exposure here. That's Deer Valley. So we're at the top of the limestone here. There's about 30 feet of limestone below this point. That's good news, though, because if we just follow that right on up, we'll be locked right onto the exposure, and we'll catch any sinkholes or features that we might hope to find up there.
The features they seek are called karst, which is landscape formed when rock dissolves. Limestone can be found by consulting a map, but identifying karst requires a ridge walk with keen eye and persistence. Donnie Carnes uses an infrared sensor to search for cool underground air escaping into the hot summer forest, a telltale sign that a tunnel may extend beneath. Meanwhile, Corey investigates a promising outcrop.
You can see about 400 cave crickets in there. Not that they necessarily inhabit caves. It's solutional, but there's not really any airflow. So I would think it's probably a dud hole. All the time, I'm imagining where the caves underneath the ground might be, yeah. And most of the time, I'm wrong, and anyone who's imagining will be wrong. But it's always a gratifying experience to imagine something there, imagine what it might look like, imagine where it might be, and then find it. And it's even more gratifying to find something that you don't expect.
Today's ridge walk does not bear fruit, but uncovering new caves is a long-term project, and the team has other irons in the fire.
Remember to lift completely with your lower back, not with your legs.
Here, on a ridge uphill from a river, they have found a hole, or aperture, that draws air inwards.
Oh, there's some.
So what's happening here is you have entrances, apertures to the surface way low. You have apertures up here. And since that air is colder, it's denser, and it'll flow out the lower apertures and pull air in the higher apertures. The greater the distance between those two, the more powerful that air current will be. So when we see a really strong air current like that, that's a really good sign that we have a deep, extensive cave nearby.
Upon first discovery, many such apertures are tiny, and there's only one way to see if the passage widens into an accessible cave.
Digging a cave open can take anywhere from 5 minutes to 20 years. It depends, again, on luck. It depends, how much material has slumped into the entrance over the millennia. 1 in 10 cave digs actually produces a cave. 1 in 100 of those digs is going to be something that's, really fantastic.
Time will tell if this hole makes the cut, but it may be difficult to measure up to another recent discovery, a cave they named Tanglefoot.
Tanglefoot was found on a cold winter morning, and we were walking along this outcrop of limestone near the top of the mountain. And we found an area where the snow had been suspiciously melted, so this indicates that there's something underneath.
Taking its name from the snarl of roots where they dug, opening up Tanglefoot for exploration was a challenge, moving deeper inch by inch.
And there's Dave bravely digging away.
Until a breakthrough. Yet that only means the work has just begun. Today, the cavers gather at a second entrance to Tanglefoot, recently opened after months of digging. Their mission is to survey the Virgin Passage, beginning to chart the unexplored.
When you set foot in a new space that's never been seen before, and there's no footprints or no signs of human traffic, what's actually happening is you're shining light on something that has not seen light, on atoms that literally have not seen light for, in this case, about 400 million years. So that particular day that you see that for the first time alters its history forever, and alters your history too, because you have this, incredible opportunity to see something that's unknown.
No. Well, I'd have to get on the one on the side of the wall.
Not getting shaken or anything? Nope. It will be a mess.
Tanglefoot has a lot of passages that we call pancake passages. They're very, very, very wide, and sometimes only 1 to 3 feet high. A lot of the time it's full of this nasty, sticky mud, which is a residue from the dissolution of the surrounding rock. You're in spaces that are less than 2 feet high for distances of over 200, 300, 400 feet.
Stay high, yeah.
The narrowest squeeze in the cave is about 8 inches in height. When you think about it, all the spaces that we're exposed to in our day-to-day life are designed for us, and a cave is decidedly not designed for human passage.
Yeah, that's a nice little spot there.
So it's like being a snake in a cave like Tanglefoot. You're using your whole body as a point of attachment to the space around you.
Yeah. Well, y'all come back down here.
Yeah, it's down in that tight corner there. See mine right here? It's 25 feet.
After well over an hour of travel, crawling into the belly of darkness, they can begin their survey.
See that target? Right there.
We'll be collecting length from point to point inside the cave. We'll be collecting inclination, that's the vertical angle at which you're descending or ascending. And we'll be collecting azimuth, which is the compass heading, which direction you're going.
Clino minus 14.5.
So from those 3 elements of data, we'll basically construct a 3-dimensional framework and construct a map around that. When our survey data are reduced, we'll find that it's in excess of a mile, we think, deeper than any cave north of West Virginia in the eastern United States.
Avant-garde by their very nature, cave diggers have found true uncharted wilderness, hiding mere feet beneath well-worn paths.
Caves are really one of the very few places that there's something left to be discovered. It's like setting foot on the moon, the thrill of seeing something that's never been seen before.